Hi, welcome back. This is the 5th video in this House T modelling course for AutoCAD 2020. We're now going to look at creating some simple windows in this portion of the building. So we'll create ourselves a new current layer, 3D, Win, FR, so it's window, frame, and just in case we need to split these, we'll have a G for ground floor. Okay, and colour wise, we're going to use yellow so we can see these clearly above the other objects and make that current. Okay, we want to be working in a 2D wireframe. At the moment our coordinate system is the right hand side, which corresponds to this wall, so that makes things easier. And what we'll do is we'll model one window using 3D faces so that we can stretch the window into the other window openings. Okay, so we'll zoom in on this window shape and use a rectangle. So we'll put the windows at the back of the wall for this one. Okay, and then I'm going to offset that by 50 millimeters. So that's a fairly chunky frame. If it was wood, it'd be about that. Okay, now we don't need the original rectangle now, that can be deleted. And we'll put 3D faces on this now, but just 2 of them just now. So 3F, enter. Okay, so pick 1, 2, 3, 4. Enter to finish, enter to bring back the command. 1, 2, 3, 4. Enter to finish. Okay, if we do that, if we just put the 2 on, we can then easily delete the rectangle. I don't really want that kind of getting copied around as well. Okay, 2 more 3D faces now. Enter to finish, enter to bring back the command. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's just shade that, make sure it's looking frame-ish. It'll look a bit like a painting frame at the moment. Artwork frame, so it's looking okay. Okay, back to 2D wireframe for work. Okay, now we want to copy that towards us. So it's copy, pick the 4 3D faces, enter. Base point can be anywhere, but we do need ortho on. So base point, pull towards us, and we want to come this way by 75 millimeters. Enter to finish. So finally, we want to line the inside. I'll just show you at the moment. It's got a gap. So we'll line the inside, 3D faces, and we can use our kind of continuous method here. Okay, I'll switch ortho off as I go. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. Enter to finish. Okay, should look much more like a window frame now. That's better. Okay, it doesn't have any glass. So what we're going to use is just a single surface for the glass. Okay, let's create a glass layer. Okay, 3D, Win, glass, we'll call it G for ground floor, window glass. So this will be consistent for wherever the glass is used. So choose a colour for this, and I usually go for colour 141. Okay, make that current and close. Okay, 3D face again. So it's stretchable. We need midpoints on our object snap. So go from the middle of those last surfaces we drew. Okay, once you do the fourth point, the glass appears. We shade that. Okay, so it appears that the glass is kind of sitting in the middle of the framing, as it generally does in most windows. Okay, now we're going to be copying that into this window opening and this one, but there is a little bit of a change that we need to do to the model here. Okay, there's quite a big beam that runs right the way across here. So we've got that in 2D here. So let's create a 3D layer for our beam. Create a layer, 3D beam, and if we're having a first floor one or a second floor one, let's call it G, ground floor, and we'll choose a color. Let's go up here, maybe 201, make it current. Okay, and we'll model the beam in the world coordinate system. Okay, so we need two rectangles here. Okay, a rectangle over this shape and a smaller rectangle over this one. Okay, move those up by the floor to floor height. And you've got that either here or here. So let's use the drawing. So from end point to the top line. Okay, and we'll extrude those downwards by 550 millimeters. So extrude, pick your two shapes, enter. Make it appear that they're extruding upwards, but we type in a minus 550 so that they go down the way. Okay. Now we could just allow that to collide, because they wouldn't actually see what's being overlapped. Okay, but in purist terms, we should really subtract the beam shape from the concrete. Okay, but if we do that, we'll lose the original beam. If I just demo, if I subtract from here, enter, use this object, you lose the object. So I need to copy this first to have one left. So copy, pick the beam, enter, choose a point, pretend to go away, but come back to the same point. Enter to finish. So there's now two beams here. You can tell that this one's slightly brighter than this one. Very slightly. You know there's something a wee bit different going on there. Okay. Subtract now. Pick the main concrete form. Enter. Pick the beam. Enter. So we still retain a beam, but we've done the subtraction. Okay, it's getting quite complicated now, visually. The blue layer isn't going to be needed again, so let's just hide that. That's one less thing. We don't need to see the gravel for a while. We'll hide the gravel. Same with the 2D beam on the ground, and let's just switch the red off for a second as well. Things are a wee bit less cluttered. Escape. Now what we could also do here is lock the concrete so that we don't accidentally disturb it. So use the lock command, pick the concrete object, it gets dimmer, but it's safe now. We can't accidentally move it or do any damage to it. Okay, so first job is to copy the window into the different openings. So copy, put a window around the window. Enter. Base point, use this position, take it to the corner here and the corner here. Okay, now what we need to do is stretch this into these different positions. Okay, so I'll just put a guideline on so you can see where we have to stretch from and to. So I'll do this in the in the right coordinate system using a polyline. Okay, I need to stretch this area from here to here. I need to stretch this area, all these vertices at the same time, from here to here. And on the ground, on the line, on here, on the windowsill, we're needing to stretch all of this area from here to here. Okay, on this slightly smaller opening, it's a bit easier to see where to go. Okay, I'll do the big one first because there's a bit less kind of clutter around it. Okay, I'll do this in 3 sets, but this one I'll do in 2 stretches. Okay, so the command is stretch. Okay, we have to select. It tells you in the command prompt here what you must do. So it has to be a crossing window. So that's the green shape. So I need to grab all of this area. Okay, don't worry about the concrete, that's locked, it can't be damaged. So grab, enter. You only get one chance to do the selection, and it must be a green selection window. Okay, stretch, grab the area, enter, from endpoint up to the endpoint. Start to see it keeps the frames in the correct arrangement, doesn't scale the frames up. So grab this area, enter, endpoint to endpoint. Absolutely fine. There are, because the polyline's got stretched as well, there is actually a line with 0 length at each of these positions. Okay, wouldn't cause any problems really. It's effectively just a dot. Okay, this one, let's do this in just 2 stretches instead. Okay, so we can take the side in one go and then the top in one go. So stretch, just do a bigger crossing window this time. Enter. Okay, so it's horizontal first. And then I'm just making the angle a little bit easier to grab the top. Stretch all this area in one go, enter. Okay, I shouldn't have rotated in between. Okay, the command didn't like that, it's got to be done in one go. Okay, so stretch all that area, enter, from endpoint to endpoint. Okay, if I retrieve those little dots, and there's one here as well. Keep things nice and tidy. Okay, simple windows. Okay, this window does have a division in it, so if we copy the vertical 3D face here from endpoint to midpoint, okay, copy that. If we put ortho on, we can copy it 25mm this way, but move the original one 25mm this way. Okay, so we create a 50mm gap in the middle. Let's go to the window framing layer, 3D face on this side, and copy that to the back, from endpoint to endpoint. Okay, quite complicated. but we've got a window there that we can use again. Once it's made, it's usable as many times as you need. Okay, doors done in a very similar way. So let's do the doors on this file as well. So firstly, I'm just going to switch off this purple. Okay, and I'm going to lock the wooden wall, just as we did with the concrete. Okay, a new layer, new current layer, 3D door frame, 3D DRFRG. Yellow is good for that. Make it current and close. And we need a polyline, but just on 3 sides of this. Okay, so luckily we're in the correct UCS for this. It's the side that's facing that wall. So just a 3-sided polyline. And to offset that by 50 millimeters. Escape. Don't need the original now. Okay, we need 3D faces. Okay, we can do the continuous method here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. Enter to stop. The polyline is still stuck under here. So if I zoom in closely and use the erase command, so it's E, return, do a crossing window through this line. Then hold shift and we can recover the 3D face. So out of the 2 objects, one of them is still due for removal. Press enter and it goes. So the polyline's now gone. Okay, we would need to create the depth of the door frame now. So if we copy the 3D faces, enter. Base point can be anywhere. Set the direction, we're going backwards this time, and the door frame's a wee bit thicker than the window frame, so it's 100, enter. Enter to stop. Okay, then we need to surface around the inside. So 3D face, we can do the continuous method again. So endpoint to endpoint, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. Enter to stop. So door frame's good. We now need a door leaf. So create a new layer, 3D DR leaf G. So I'm just being consistent. So I've got all my ground floors, and then I would have all my first floors. Colour for this, I'm just going to make it legible, so I'm going to use colour 30. Okay, make it current. Just start off with a rectangle. Now this is a very strange building. Okay, most of the doors in this building are sliding doors. They're very subtly done, very clever. Okay, the doors completely cover the door frames. Okay, so the rectangle for the door leaf is actually going to be on the outside of the door, and it covers the complete door frame. Okay, working on this now is going to be a bit tricky, so let's switch off the door frame and the wooden layer so we can just see the door leaf. Okay, now this needs to, for visualization, it's better if there's a little gap behind the door and a little gap at the bottom of the door. So what we'll do is we'll move this towards us, so base point anywhere, direction towards you, and just 5 millimeters. 5 and enter. And then stretch the bottom of the door, enter, upwards 5 millimeters. If you want to check things, bring your door frame back on and let's zoom in close and look for these gaps. So we're a wee bit in front of the door frame and a little bit higher. That's what we want. Okay, switch off the door frame now. We want to put a 3D face on that, so it's stretchable, because some of the other doors are slightly different sizes. So 3F, enter. Okay, put our 3D face on that. We want rid of the polyline now. E, return. Do a crossing through both objects. So there's two there now. Hold shift, click on it once. It takes away the newest object, which is good, and then press enter, and we've lost the polyline. Should be left with just the 3D face. Okay, the doors in this building are quite elegant, they're quite thin. So we'll copy this, enter, base point anywhere. We're copying it towards us by 38mm. Enter to stop. Now let's give ourselves as much control as possible for visualization. Let's put edges on the door, but with a different layer. Okay, so a new layer, 3D door edge G, and just use a different color altogether. Let's go for this one, say okay, and then 3D face around your door edge. Okay, use our continuous method, it's much quicker. Okay, put the door frame back on. We can bring our wooden wall back on, and we can copy that doorway into these three openings, because they're all three the same. Okay, so copy, grab the whole construction, so there's 19 objects there, enter, base point. We could use the back corner here of the wall, take it to the corresponding positions. Okay, we've got a door to go in here, but it's facing a different direction, so the door wants to be on this side. So if we copy P for previous, enter, but do this in a slightly different way. Okay, I'm going to use this as my base point. Sorry, no, I'm going to use this position on the frame as the base point and take it to this place. Okay, but then we need to rotate that by 180 degrees. Okay, so always rotate. There we are. Rotate. Grab these items. Enter. Nearly fell into a trap there. We need to go to the world coordinate system. Okay, rotate, grab the items, enter. The base point is where the frame touches the concrete. Okay, and the rotation angle will be 180. Okay, that door is slightly smaller than the others. You can see there's a bit that needs stretched back in there. Okay, so stretch, use a crossing window, enter, and we want to go from end point to end point. Okay, the last door that we have on the ground floor, if we switch the white walls back on, okay, we have a doorway here. Okay, so if we copy our door again, enter, Okay, this time I'm going to use this corner as my base point and take it to this corner. Okay, so it looks a bit like a normal door at the moment, okay, but it needs rotated back the way by 90 degrees. So rotate, pick these objects, enter. Base point could be down here at the ground. So this is a minus 90 rotation. And then we need to stretch to fill the bit that's left. So we're stretching from end point to end point. So I have to be a wee bit careful because the white layer isn't locked. So stretch, starting my selection in a black space there so I don't get too many objects. Enter. Stretching is one of the most complicated things to do in AutoCAD, but it's very good time saver. Okay. Now, in reality, this door, okay, couldn't slide on the outside because it would hit this wall. So let's mirror this one to the other side. So we'll mirror it using the middle of the wall, and we do want to lose the originals. So erase the source objects, yes. Okay, so that door can slide on this side. Okay, there is another window, but we'll add that in the next video. We don't want to overload the length of the videos too long. So we've got a window to do, we've got floors to put in, a ceiling, and a door at the back as well. So there's still some more small tasks to do, which we'll finish in the next video.